Welcome back. 2Gents2Cents, another sports episode. Haven't been on here in a couple of weeks since, kind of honestly, a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl. So this is our second off-season video. Mainly going to talk about some NFL trade news, some stuff going on with the combine, couple of quarterback carousel things, and then need to mention World Baseball Classic as well as Jason Tatum coming back to the Boston Celtics last night as of recording this. So to kick it right off, I think we got to talk about the biggest news in the football world that's happened recently and affects my favorite team. And that would be this gosh darn Max Crosby deal going to the Ravens. Share my screen here. Yeah. So Max Crosby. Now, I don't know if you have seen exactly what they're getting. I believe it was reported a first round this year and a first round pick next year. Plus, the Ravens are taking on all of Max Crosby's salary, which I believe was just under what TJ Watt's getting paid. I think it's like 2 or 3 million less than Garrett deal. 40, $50 million the Ravens are going to have to pay Max Crosby. I cannot believe how often this freaking Baltimore Ravens team gets free agents every single year, especially on the defensive side. It seems like they get like the best corner that's a free agent, or the best safety, or the best linebacker, or lineman, or Lamar's old buddy from Louisville. I don't know what the connection is here. I think it's a great fit for Baltimore, obviously, but then they had issues with their defense last year. I mean, their defense was pretty
Yeah,
soft.
but let's be honest, is this a big enough splash that's gonna change the trajectory of their season? I don't think it is.
I think it kind of depends on what you think about their offense. I mean, if they can not do what they did towards the end, like if Lamar plays like he did last year, I don't think it'll matter. But if he plays how he did every year before that, I don't even really think that they needed Max Crosby to be a good team, to be honest. Um, their D line, if they didn't have Matabike getting hurt, a couple of young guys getting hurt, it would have been a solid D line. But I mean, they're just older, and their real issues, in my opinion, are in their secondary, minus their strong safety and Kyle Hamilton. He's probably the best safety in the league, or one of. But outside of that, like, they need corner, they need linebacker, they need roll safety, nickel back. But yeah, I mean, he's better than any edge rusher they had by far.
Think this is gonna make the Joe Burrow leaving the Bengals noise pretty loud after this year. He's gonna have the whole year to face Crosby, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt.
Yeah, assuming we don't get rid of DJ Watt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's brutal. Twice a year, both of them guys. The Joe Burrow thing's probably a whole other conversation. If that ever comes to fruition, we'll definitely be posting a video on it. But I don't see how he leaves, if not at least without leaving and not being able to take his receivers with him. Like, there's no chance in hell he gets traded and Jamar gets traded to the same team. They're just getting paid way too much. There'd be no team that would want to do that or would take all that. So I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, it's a tough division if you're a quarterback now. Three, borderline Hall of Famers when it's all said and done. So yeah, that was the biggest news I think to come out so far since the season quit. And yeah, I'm just can't believe I'm gonna have to see this guy 2 times a year now.
Yeah, it's
Great
gonna be
player.
tough.
Yeah, I wonder if, how the Ravens, the rest of their roster is gonna shake up because of this. This can't be, they're just adding him on and they're gonna have to get rid of some people. And they obviously got rid of the first round draft pick this year and next year. So they're gonna have to run back a lot of that offense that was there last year. They're not gonna be able to pick up the best offensive tackle or the best, Derrick Henry's still gonna have to be there. Not saying Derrick Henry's, washed or anything, but I mean, he's getting up there. they're only going to have a few more years of this regime, I think, between Lamar and Henry and that sort of play style that they like to run. So outside of Max Crosby, a couple other big trades that have happened since our last video. DJ Moore, formerly with the Chicago Bears. Uh, as I look for this, going to the Buffalo Bills now. So now Josh Allen has potentially somebody to throw to that's worth a darn and that
Yeah, I mean
can
that's a good trade.
run a route. um, really, in my opinion, kind of all they've been missing, really been underrated, in my opinion, how good their running game has been. If they had a passing game with Josh Allen, he didn't have to play Superman every game,
Yeah.
they'd be pretty damn good. So I think this is a great trade. Another one, I'm not exactly sure what the picks that they had to give up to the Bears, but the Bears are trying to relieve cap space. I don't know who for. A lot of people were thinking they were going after Crosby. I'm sure there are a lot of teams that were going after Crosby, but I believe they're probably going to try to make a big splash play, something before the season starts because they're trying to cut costs. Them and the Detroit Lions, who we're not planning on talking about. They got rid of a couple of linemen and saved like 30 to like 50 million, and now they've got like 90 million in cap. So they're definitely going after a player. I don't know who. But yeah, I think this is good for Buffalo. I don't know how it's going to affect Chicago, but to me, that means Rome Odunze's got to be like the guy now for Chicago, unless they plan on bringing somebody else in. What do you think?
Do you plan on talking about the Texans line trade for Montgomery?
I didn't have that, but we can. I'm
That one
not.
scares me as the AFC South. For the AFC South, yeah,
I know you're a Colts
yeah,
guy, obviously.
yeah. The Montgomery going to the Texans worries me because the Texans really didn't have a big run game this year. That kind of defanged them a little bit, and they were
No,
still a
but
problem.
they had to run with second and third string running backs all year.
Yeah,
Mixon didn't
right, right,
play
right.
like at all.
Yeah, he got
So
he got
this
hurt,
is
didn't he?
yeah, he got hurt, I think before the season even started. Yeah, so they were playing like a rookie undrafted they just drafted, and then they brought in what's his nuts from the Browns, Nick Chubb. There's Nick Chubb and some other kid I'd never heard of. Yeah, I mean, so Montgomery, and then I don't know what the Mixon deal, if he's still there. That could be a decent 1-2 punch. At this point in Montgomery's career, I would not consider him a bell cow, or at least I wouldn't put him out there as a bell cow. You may consider him from what the Lions have been doing, because low key, I feel like he damn near had a better year than Gibbs did, at least just running through the tackles. Obviously, Gibbs is another gear when it comes to catching out of the backfield, but um, I think they're trying to relieve cap space for some player, or they're about to have to restructure somebody's deal and pay. I I can't. I think Gibbs is already on a long term. He's not on his rookie deal anymore. I believe they've already paid him on St. Brown. I don't know who would be ready for a contract, but yeah, Montgomery to the Texans to me just feels like a better version of Nick Chubb going there last year because he's, I think, way less injury, or
Yeah,
has had way less injuries than Nick Chubb. But I don't know, like, if Mixon is still there. I low key think Mixon starts and like Montgomery's like what he's been doing with the Lions. He's like the knuckle, like the goal line back and the third down back and the short yardage back. I don't know. Do you think he would take over the starting job if Mixon isn't there?
I think so. I really do.
What are they paying him? It's his contract. David Montgomery.
Did Shefty actually hit a
Five,
fan
five
with
and
a
a
golf
half
ball?
to 6 million a year. What?
Did Shefty really hit a fan with a golf ball?
I didn't see that, but I wouldn't put it past him. I know he
Said he
plays in a
lost
lot of
his
like celeb tournament deals
and maybe
off the tee
satire, but
box.
said Says he lost his cool at the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Well, the Arnold Palmer is like a PGA like event. He wouldn't be playing, but maybe they did like a pro-am before the tournament on like a Monday or a Tuesday that he would have played in. I could totally see that happening. Looks like he got a 2 year, he's in a final year of a 2 year deal. So this is literally, unless he gets another deal with Houston, we're talking about David Montgomery. Um, this is a 1 year thing and he's getting paid 6 million.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's pretty good payday.
cheap. Well, it's cheap for, I guess it's not that cheap for like an out of, I almost said expired, but an older running back. Like if he's that, to me, that's like backup. Like you're not starting. I would say a starter is getting paid at least like 10 mil, but depends on where you are in your career. Good deal for Houston, I think. It's really
Yeah, I
not
think
cutting
so.
off a lot of cap for the Lions, honestly. 6 mil is not that much, but
The Lions need to figure
I
out
don't
their
know what the hell they're
defense.
gonna do. They lost their starting tackle and their Ragnow. They're two guys that were there from when they were dog water and then they became the good Lions. They're now not there. And that was kind of the strength of that Detroit team was their offensive line. So I'm kind of interested in how they patchwork that for next year. Because if their line's like it was this year, they're gonna be bad again. They're not gonna make playoffs. Especially a division that NFC North is getting really, if the Vikings can get a quarterback, they'll be good. So
Yeah,
that division's gonna be tough.
Daniel Jones.
When we're going to talk about the quarterback carousel here in a minute. I do want to go over one more interesting trade that happened that I think's relevant. So Trent McDuffie, the All-Pro
Cornerback.
corner
Yep.
that won the Super Bowl and went to two with the Chiefs, went to the Los Angeles Rams only in his third year, and he went All-Pro for his 2 years.
You see that comment?
Yeah, which, however funny it may be, I completely disagree. Mm, I think the one area the Los Angeles Rams did not have a studly group was their secondary. If they had anything that I was going to say is not at least B plus level, it was their corners and their safeties. They had a guy, blanking on his name, but he was like a starting free safety, but because of corner injuries, they had to play him at nickel, kind of like how Pittsburgh had to do with Jalen Ramsey. They couldn't play him in one position because they were always have injuries and they'd have to float him up to other positions. This will be their number one lockdown. This is like going to be like their Derek Stingley Jr. for Houston. That allows that nickel guy to go back to free safety. I think really helps their defense. I think this is really all they needed. And to me, this makes them the Super Bowl favorite, like out of the gate next year. The exact same roster with a little bit better secondary. I mean, as long as Matt Stafford's still Matt Stafford, they're still going to have Puka and Devontae. To me, they're going to be Super Bowl favorites, especially after this trade. Unbelievable work that the GM does there every single year. They never have any good draft picks, like as far as like drafting position. They're always in the back end of the first round, or sometimes they don't even have first round draft picks ever, and they're always able to do deals like this. So shout out to the GM of the Rams, man. They're I wish Pittsburgh could do deals like this all the time. Um, but yeah, to me, this is a big deal for LA and keeps them to me is the top at the top, sitting at the top for next year. What do you think? What do you say? Obviously, the Chiefs are gonna have to draft some people now. But again,
Yeah,
I think this was salary cap related. They were gonna have to pay him a lot of money.
I think the Chiefs are pretty aware they're kind of hedging towards a little bit of a reset here. I think they need to bring in some young blood and kind of revitalize the org a little bit. Uh, so no, I think this is a good trade. I think this is a good trade for the Rams. What the Rams have to give up?
First round draft pick, just one.
How many years has McDuffie been in the league?
Believe this will be his third or his fourth.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's a pretty solid trade.
Yeah, well, and yeah, he's all pro. First rookie year and his second year he went all pro. So good. And he won a
Hopefully for
Super
their
Bowl already.
hopefully for their sake, he stays healthy longer than Sauce Gardner did
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could I mean, and
after
that
his
has been
trade.
the problem with them, past year. Their secondary has been injury prone. It's like San Fran, except not their whole team, like San Fran, just a secondary. But I think it's a good trade, and the Chiefs get 2 first-round draft picks now. One that's pretty high because they were terrible last year. I have seen people earlier reports Jeremiah Love might get picked up there. I feel like if any team's smart, they won't let him fall to the Chiefs. But um, if the Chiefs do get Jeremiah Love and they're able to pick up, a secondary or a safety or something in the back end of the first round, I think it's a good deal for both teams. Be quite fair because the
Yep,
Rams are
I
already
agree.
getting something they know is good, right? Um, but yeah, other than that, we did mention the David Montgomery stuff. Couple linemen off the Lions getting released. We mentioned Tyreek Hill on the live show. He still hasn't been picked up, but these are kind of the big trades: DJ Moore, Max Crosby, and this McDuffie that I think were sort of the bigger deals when it comes to NFL trade things going on. I want to quickly, not really quickly, I want to get into the switch gears and talk about some of these quarterbacks that are potentially moving on to other teams. So I don't know how you would prefer to do this, Mark, but if we went to one by one, or if we just want to kind of throw our open thoughts out there and brainstorm, I want to kind of try to predict where we think these quarterbacks that are free agents are going to go because we're in a weird situation where it seems like all the quarterbacks that are available, every single team that needs a quarterback is looking at all of them. And nobody
Yeah,
has
well,
really said, "Oh, we're looking at these 2 guys." It's like all 8 could go to anybody at
yeah,
this
and
point.
truthfully, there's not any quarterbacks available that don't feel to me like a little bit of dirty laundry,
Yeah, they're
right?
not like guaranteed, gonna work slam dunks, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think there's a possibility that the Vikings really make a run at Daniel Jones.
No, I think so too because they didn't want to get rid of him in the first place.
Right. And they rolled the dice with McCarthy, and I think they've already said that he's not going to be the starter next year.
Well, yeah, they definitely said there's at the very least going to be a competition, which kind of says, "Hey, JJ, like you might be a career backup or need another shot somewhere else if they do pick up somebody and actually pay him." But I mean, if you go back to Daniel Jones and when he left the Vikings actually offered him more money than the Colts did, but he wanted to go to the Colts because he was like, "I'll actually get an opportunity to start and not just back up this rookie," right? Which was smart on his part, obviously, because now people are looking to give him a contract. So I don't know how much he's going to be thinking about, do I want to stay because I already have the relationship and all that stuff, or if it's just a money deal. Like with Sam Darnold, like I feel like he would have stayed if they would have offered him like let's say 25 mil instead of the 30 that it's getting paid by Seattle, but because they probably only wanted to pay him 15 because he's going to be a backup or like 10. So I don't know. No numbers have really come out on what the Colts are offering or what the Vikings are offering or what any teams. But as far as like ranking
Well, I
my
think
personal opinion,
from
I
what I
mean, I think
read
Daniel
though,
Jones got to be the hottest one out of all of them.
pretty sure the transition tag carries like a minimum, or I think the transition tag sets his pay. Like it has to be X amount, like it guarantees X amount of dollars.
Really?
Yeah, with the transition tag, like it's well, you kind of keep him, but if you're going to give him the tag, you have to pay him X amount. I think that's set by the CBA.
Say NFL transition tag, 1 year guaranteed tender that allows a team to retain an impending free agent by matching any offer sheet that they sign with another club. So it's basically like you have a right to like first dibs if somebody puts an offer out.
Says
Yeah. It's a lower
tag is
cost on a
worth
franchise tag.
the tag is worth the higher of the average of the top 10 salaries at the player's position over the last 5 years, or 120% of their previous year's salary.
Wow. Well, at the quarterback position, that's pretty high. Top 10 per 10 would, I mean, you're talking probably I mean, that's over 30 million. I'd say there's at least 5 guys that are in like the 40 to 50 mil.
Yeah, so
We didn't bring it up, but speaking of the quarterback contract deals, I don't know if you saw Patrick Mahomes restructured his deal by a lot. He was making 50 mil a year. Now he's only making like 30 or like 36
why did
for
he
the
do that?
Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, he's making a ton outside of that's why he did that. But now that I mean, they're going to be able to. They've got 2 first round draft picks and they've got cap room. So I mean, don't hold your breath on the Chiefs being rebuild just quite yet, because they're going to be able to make some moves. But yeah, interesting. I think, like I said, I think Daniel Jones is probably number one out of the people that are projected to move, in my opinion. I'd say a step down from that's your Kyler Murray range. Kyler Murray, I think the big difference, which is something to consider between, and not just play style. Obviously, Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray are playing pretty different body type, different play style. However, you're not going to have to pay Kyler Murray anything. Cardinals released him and took all of his salary. So you pay him $1.5 million, league minimum. Like he's only going to cost 1.2 or $1.5 million, which is going to be significantly cheaper than Daniel Jones. Obviously, I'm thinking Daniel Jones is going to be at least 30 million.
Yeah, I think that's what he's aiming for.
Yeah. So and then after that, you've got Malik Willis and Kirk Cousins, I think are the next level down. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins at this stage in his career. I'd way rather have Aaron Rodgers, but Malik Willis is interesting because he really hasn't gotten a full-fledged shot at more than a couple of games at a time. So he would be the one I feel like I would, if I'm unsure and I just want a 1-year trial, he would be the one I would give a shot to out of all those rest of those guys. I don't know how you feel, but I would rather have Malik Willis than Kirk or Kyler, or just because I feel like I know what Kyler and Kirk are. But I
I
don't
don't
know what
know. I
you.
mean, Willis is very dangerous when it comes to I don't know. I feel like he's very one dimensional, his play style. If you can stop him one way, like you stop him for good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fairly well with pocket progression. Obviously, he's got the athletic ability that everybody looks for, but he's just not like a super duper small guy like Kyler is. He can still see over the line. He had to play in Green Bay, and then before that, he had to play in Tennessee. So tough environments. And just he's never gotten more than like 3 or 4 games at a time. So I'd like to see what, 10 games looks for him if I'm taking a chance on him. I'd rather have, if I'm Pittsburgh, if I'm just thinking about Pittsburgh, I'd rather have Aaron or take a shot at the rookie we drafted last year. Or people are talking about Ty Simpson this year. If that happens, I'd like to play him, but I kind of hope they don't draft Ty Simpson. Just I'm not a fan of him. But he's got a similar build to Will. So I just feel like it'd be like drafting the same player that we already have. But yeah, so I mean, are you in agreement out of like those 4 guys? Daniel Jones probably like the most sought after, and then Kyler, then probably Kirk,
Well,
then Pat,
I think it varies. I mean,
then
the
Mac
the
Jones.
the tricky thing here is it's very conditional on what that team's ownership is going to view Jones' injury as, right? Like if the leadership of an organization looks at Jones and says he did have an injury, he should be 100%, then I think they're gonna he's highly sought after. But if anybody looks at that injury and they're like, I don't know, truthfully I feel like this year he may not be as sought after just because people don't know what to expect. I think next year could be a different story, but coming off such a major injury, I think that's going to raise a lot of caution flags where people are going to treat him as almost kind of like a Mac Jones of last year. Like, you're good, but will it work out?
Yeah, we'll see. And I even think I just mentioned him a couple of times, but I think Mac Jones is going to get a starting job somewhere. I
He did
truly
pretty
believe
good.
somebody will give him a
Yeah,
shot.
he did pretty good.
My opinion, that's because he had Kyle Shanahan. That's what a lot of people say, because he makes most quarterbacks look pretty damn good. And if you want to look at quarterbacks like QBR ratings, they're the only team that has a quarterback that's shorter than 6'2", that's got a top 10 QBR year after year, Brock Purdy. And they did the same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. But yeah, he performed like, he really effort-wise showed me something this year when he came in for like 5 games. I think he went 4-1. I mean, I know that they made the divisional round, they won a playoff game. So if he wouldn't have done that, they wouldn't even made the playoffs. I mean, kudos to him. I think he'll earn a contract somewhere. I'm not totally sold on him, but I think he'll get a shot somewhere. I don't know where it's gonna be, but he'll be cheap. He'll be like 10 million probably. But yeah, interested to see. Nobody's landed anywhere yet. I imagine all of these guys will most likely have to be signed by the draft. The only one I could see maybe being after it's Aaron because it's Aaron. And if that happens, then we might sign somebody or draft somebody. I think they're not going to let Aaron wait till June this time to decide. My opinion, I think there will be pretty close contact with him because McCarthy's a head coach now, but we'll see on that. Anything else you want to talk about with quarterbacks, NFL, QB carousel, trade,
No,
talk,
I mean, a lot of right now are just kind of sitting and waiting. This is one of the most boring, exciting times of the NFL season.
off season, off season?
It's boring until it's not, and then it's really exciting. So just waiting for more news to break.
True. More stuff in it. Never know when it's gonna happen. That's it's kind of tough for us doing weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. We kind of just have the run of the mill on what happened. We cannot, go live every once in a while when we can, but kind of gotta wait on the news to come out. Before we move on to a couple of mentions and some other sports that I want to touch, I do want to shout out couple of things from the NFL Combine. We have a couple of records. Sonny Styles, the freak linebacker out of Ohio State, has broken 2 records. Vertical leap tied for the record for every position and all sizes, and broke the record for his position and his size. To give you a frame of reference, his vertical leap is taller than Michael Jordan's, and he's
That's
6'4".
insane.
6'4", 240, I believe 240, 200, yeah, 244 pounds, 6'4". On top of that, he ran a 4.49 40-yard dash. This guy will be a top 10 draft pick. He's the guy that shined the brightest coming out of the draft, was already a first rounder coming into the draft after these combine numbers. Might be the best athlete in the draft. Just monster. Reminds me a lot of if you remember Ryan Shazier coming out of Ohio State that played for the Steelers for a couple of years before he had the
Yeah,
injury that almost made him die and he couldn't walk. Elite speed for his size. It's like DK Metcalf playing linebacker. I mean, he's going to be, whoever gets this guy's going to be a monster. And then also, we have the bench press record was broken
belongs to me.
by a Samoan. Got that Samoan strength. I believe the record before this was 39
Oh, nice.
at
Keep going. Keep
225.
going.
And this
That's
kid,
it,
I
son.
believe
Nice.
out of
Nice.
Colorado.
That's a wide grip.
So he's already broken the record.
One by one. I don't care.
Still going, just a monster. Almost gets to 50. Almost.
An
But I
absurd number.
mean, well, this guy is not going to be pushed around. That's for darn sure. And I believe if you do the calculation for what that means is 1 rep max is over 600 pounds. So this guy's a
That's incredible.
beast.
Yeah,
So
good lord.
shout out to you. I don't even know what dude's name is.
Jason
But
Momoa's son.
yeah, pretty much. Those Samoans out of Hawaii, they've always got it's like country boy strength. They're just any of them. They're ridiculous when it comes to athletics. So shout out to the combine. Pat McAfee did 5 days there in person. If you guys watched any of it, it was good, great content. Had Jack. I'm blanking on the dude's last name that won the Olympic gold medal for USA Hockey on the last goal. Had him on. Had a bunch of owners for NFL teams. A bunch of good stuff from that week. So if you get some time to go back and watch any of those interviews, highly recommend. So moving on from the NFL, I do want to quickly note, as we're recording this, World Baseball Classic, the baseball's version of the World Cup has started. It's been USA has only played one game in their group, played Brazil last night and won. Are the favorites this year, even though Japan, I believe, has won the last two. So just kind of want to show off my boy, Shohei Ohtani. I am a Cardinals fan, but I believe that this man right here will go down as the greatest baseball player of all time. He is just incredible. Hits a grand slam in game one and hit another home last night against China. 2 home runs in 2 games. And yeah, he's just goated.
Ohtani.
And they've got Yamamoto, who won the World Series MVP last year as the starting pitcher. I think they're going to be tough to beat. Obviously, I'm hoping USA wins. But if I was a betting man on who's, I would take Japan as the second favorite because of Spain. Shout out baseball. Regular season of the Major League Baseball will start here in a month or so, but World Baseball Classic starting, and I will be watching, shouting out my USA boys. Just like in hockey, they brought pretty much every best player we have. We're going for it this year. No, we're not playing any college boys. These are the best stars in the league. Aaron Judge is the captain, and go get them, boys. Let's go get them. Let's take over the sport like we did in hockey. We can't let them take our pastime. These freaking Asian countries and Dominican Republic can't let these boys win. So yeah, baseball. And then quick note before we end the show, I do want to talk or just bring up Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics, the 2-year defending champs, or rather Oklahoma City. Obviously, it was the world champs last year, the year before that. Boston Celtics and their player in the playoffs last year tore his Achilles 10 months ago. To this day, as we're recording, and is playing at full 5-on-5, played 27 minutes last night, had 15 points, I believe. At 15 points, double-double, 12 rebounds, almost triple-double with 7 assists. So, Jaylen Brown's kind of taken over this team, in my opinion, as the best player on the team. But if Jason Tatum is able to actually be Jason Tatum, you're the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference, where this year was supposed to be a rebuild year for them.
This is a shot.
Shout out to this guy. I don't know what the record is on comeback from Achilles injury, but he had to get pretty damn close.
If off,
He didn't
try
break it.
turning the
10
video
months
audio down.
insanity. So,
There
shout
you
out
go.
to Jason.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything you were saying.
You couldn't hear me?
I could hear you, but the video was so
louder.
loud, like you just couldn't be. I couldn't understand you.
My bad. All I was saying is, 10 months to come back from an Achilles tear. I don't know what the record is for that in any sport, but he's got to be pretty
But he
damn
broke it.
close. He tore his Achilles. Your Achilles tendon between your Achilles in the movie from the Trojan horse, Achilles, and he got shot with a bow and arrow back in Greek Roman times. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's where the name of that tendon came from, where he got shot.
Well, yeah, yes.
So anyway, that's Achilles injury tear is basically the worst injury in sports right now. And so 10-month recovery, was not supposed to play a single minute in practice this entire year. Supposed to be out for the season. Just like Tyrese Halliburton was or is for the Indiana Pacers. He's not coming back. So incredible to see him come back. And like I was saying, I guess sorry on the audio there if you guys couldn't hear me. If he comes back and actually plays like Jason Tatum, they're going to be the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference in a year that was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them. Shout out to Jason Tatum. I'm not a Boston Celtics fan. I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan. So the team we're chasing and championships. So I hope they don't win again, but they're undoubtedly going to make the playoffs as a top seed in the Eastern Conference. And now they've got 2 guys that could win an MVP on their team starting. So that's going to be dangerous. But that's all I got for sports this week, this episode. Mark, do you have anything that you want to shout out, talk about, mention, anything I didn't think about? coming into this?
No, I mean, I think you covered all the headlines in the sports world right now. Just pretty.
Yeah, pretty quiet off season for NFL. And hopefully by the next episode, I'm hoping. I feel like a couple of these quarterbacks got to be signed by the next time you see us. And we'll be here to talk about it. So, without further ado, that'll be it for 2Gents2Cents. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Call Mark an a-hole. Whatever floats your boat. And we'll come at you in the next one.
Perfect.
Peace.
Peace.